All right, next up we have Strung Along. I really enjoyed this episode too. So, uh, with Maniac at Large really kind of intriguing my mind, and then Split Personality being super entertaining, and then this one I was like, oh my god, why did I stop watching Tales from the Crypt? Like three really cool episodes back to back here. Which I watched five, so you know that I'm not huge on the next two probably because I'm mentioning that here. Shit, I hope I don't cough through this whole thing. I'm not sick, I just swallowed my own spit accidentally, but I'm gonna fucking trudge through it. So this guy is he has a puppet show that he did on television, and the puppet show has been canceled, and he's been in retirement forever, and he feels like he's losing his purpose. And he's got this hot young wife who, seems to be pretty damn bored with him. And this is why people shouldn't marry too much younger than them, because eventually these people are going to get old, and you're going to still be young and attractive and want to do, young, attractive things that they can't do anymore. And yeah, so anyway, we got Zach Galligan in this. Galligan, is that his name? Yep, see, I'm going to do that with like everyone's last name that isn't like Smith. But yeah, the dude from Gremlins is in here. And this episode was directed by Kevin Yeager, which Kevin Yeager did the special effects makeup on my favorite Nightmare on Elm Street, Nightmare on Elm Street 2. He also did the Nightmare on Elm Street 3, 4, and the Freddy's Nightmares television series. They did like 20-something episodes up over there of that. And he also helped on Friday the 13th, Part 4, the final chapter, which has got some of the greatest practicals of all time. The Jason head machete. Oh my good God, do I love that. And anyway, so let's see. Yeah, I like how he calls his wife Kiddo, and then later in the episode she sees him calling the other guy Kiddo, and she gets super jealous. And I think that kind of just further solidifies like her desire for him to die. Because in context, like once we know that they are planning his demise together and that this is an elaborate ruse, that seemingly doesn't make a lot of sense, because it's like, why would she be getting upset that he's there? Like, she's already disconnected from that. But I think that's just a further stamp on it, like for her, like, all right, this guy just doesn't seem to care anymore. Like, I don't mean anything to him. I want out of this more so than ever. Like, that's my pet name. Even though that's what he says on television back in the day, I think like once he retired it became like she was like the ultimate fan. Like, I'm sure he met her when he was at the height of his career, and when the famous line then got kind of put on her in their marriage and he had retired the line from television, she felt like she had some ownership over it. Like, that famous line on television is mine, and I get it now. That's mine and no one else. And when he calls the other kid, it's just like, you motherfucker, I'm so glad we're planning your demise. But he's just, that aging star that has been basically forgotten, and they're doing some revival show, which they do all the time now. I mean, how many things have been brought back from, years and years and years ago that were popular once upon a time and are just kind of being resurrected? From Star Wars, they brought back like, Harrison Ford and Mark Hamill and Carrie Fisher and everyone else, or Twin Peaks, or like, there's so many shows that get revivals now or get a lot of attention. This is in the 90s, but I totally make sense of that here because of the times I live in now, that they would bring back his show, a little reunion show. And he's so bored with his life that, of course, he jumps at the chance because that was his heyday and he wants to get that back. Little kind of midlife crisis here. And then he suspects the affair, which, ends up obviously being true. And I love how this all plays out. I thought the twist in this was excellent. I think they played him really, really well. In fact, I would have been fine, and I was actually kind of disappointed a little bit at first that when he came out and the puppet was stabbing her, and he thought like the puppet really had cut itself from its strings and went off and killed her. And I thought we were getting like another Morty episode, the Don Rickles Bobcat episode with the puppet. I thought it was gonna get like another one of those things, like a killer puppet, which of course that's killer hand Siamese twin thing. You know what I mean. But when he's stabbing and he comes out and he has the heart attack because he's having heart problems throughout the thing, and he drops over, and then like the guy comes out, because earlier in the episode we foreshadow that he works with animatronics, and that's like the wave of the future, and it's kind of, he becomes that character that's so stuck in the past. It reminds me of that movie, The Artist, that won Best Picture, like 6-7 years ago or something like that. Fucking fantastic film. Where he's just stuck in his old ways and he can't get with the progression, like he can't get with the evolution of the art, like animatronics and whatnot. And it's almost like the future kills him, like he's so stuck in his old ways that the animatronics, the future of the business that he couldn't get with, is what kills him and gives him his heart attack. Kind of, a little symbolic there, I think, which I'm not usually huge into reading into symbolism, although I seem to be big into reading into every other goddamn thing. But yeah, so I liked that ending, because it went to black and like they were like standing over his body and being like, making out in front of him as he's like fading away into darkness and dying, which is just so fucked up. I don't think anyone deserves something like that. Like I think they should have just like let him die, which is terrible, don't get me wrong, but like to then further kind of like, push his face into it, like I was in here and I'm got your wife, and I'm taking your career and I'm taking your wife, and I'm like, oh my God, it's just adding insult to, mortal injury. And I was fine with that. Like, even though that's so fucked up and they deserve what they get, like these people shouldn't get away with it. I was fine with the ending, and we kind of like came back up. I was like, oh God, we're gonna get some revenge here from like the doll, and the doll kills them. But like once it started happening, I was like, okay, I'm all on board with this. The girl comes out and the guy is strung up like a marionette puppet, and he like, he has a knife in his hand, and the puppeteer makes him stab her. As even though he's already dead, he has his throat slit. Like he's been a marionette puppet who stabs her as a marionette. I thought that was fantastic. I love that imagery. I just love the thought of that. And then I was like, well, what happened there? Like, what was that doing that to him? Was it his little doll? I can't remember the damn doll's name now. And then when the cops come in and the paramedics are like, you've never seen anything like this before. And he's like, I've seen everything. It's like, not like this. And they come in, they're both like marionettes strung up on the bed, because like that's where they committed their crime. That was like the sin against them. See, more symbolism. Like you took my wife to bed. Like now this is where you're going to be. Anyway, they come in, they look up there, and it's like a large version of his doll, except for it looks like him. I don't know if he had that doll somewhere, or if he turned into a doll when he died. I don't know what that all suggested, but I thought it was a really cool end shot. He almost takes possession of the doll's body, a la Child's Play, Lakeshore Strangler. But yeah, I don't know. Like, I liked the imagery a lot. I think overthinking it like I usually do would hurt the episode. So I don't know where that doll came from. I don't know if he turned into the doll, as I said. I don't know, but all right. Really enjoyed the shit out of this episode. I think I got everything on the notes here, didn't I? Yeah, it doesn't matter. I think I got it all. All right, moving on.